Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of REI Genius Live. And it's great to be with you all on this evening. And you are in for a treat. We have Miss Leslie Taylor is going to be coming and sharing her experience as a new real estate investor and some of the things that she's been doing in her multiple markets that she's been underwriting and looking at deals and give you guys some tips and advice to help you to start taking action. And and that's what it's all about. Is getting out here, getting past the limiting beliefs, getting the information that you need, and then showing up for yourself day in and day out, taking the time to dedicate, whether it's 10 minutes, whether it's 5 minutes, or whether it's an hour a day, determining how aggressive you want to be and making it happen. And I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and this multimillionaire was really sharing his experience. And one of the big things that I found to be true is that a lot of successful people in life, they're not necessarily smarter than you. As you get in these rooms and have conversations, like we're ordinary people, but we show up consistently. We take action over and over and over again, and the you end up being successful by default because so many other people quit along the way or they stop. And I think that's one of the things that I have seen over and over and over again when you start unpacking what success looks like. And it looks like showing up when you don't want to, getting out there, getting in the rain, getting taking trips when it's inconvenient, and going and viewing deals and things like that. So if you're on the sideline, definitely stay tuned, and I think it definitely be beneficial. Shout out to all those who attended the Smart Money Expo a couple weeks ago in Austin, Texas. And then also tapped into the Juneteenth Wealth Conference with JJ Conway. That was a really good event. And we do have another event coming up in St. Petersburg, Florida, kid entrepreneur event on July 13th. And then we're going to have another event, real estate centric, on July 14th in St. Petersburg, Florida. So definitely reach out to me if you want more information about that. You're interested. That's going to be a great time. It was so. With no further ado, we're going to bring up Miss Leslie uh, to come and share.
Hi,
How are
Coach.
you this evening?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I am definitely honored and really grateful to be able to share tonight for sure. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Well, welcome to REI Genius Live. And I didn't go into your bio that much, so introduce yourself to the audience.
Okay, absolutely. So I'm a military spouse. My husband served in the U.S. Army. We've been married for 20 something years, and we have two kids. And my husband is an accountant by trade and also a digital entrepreneur. And I spent the bulk of my career as a talent and HR consultant, primarily supporting a lot of cybersecurity, cyber command, a lot of defense, cybersecurity for every branch of the military that you can imagine. So I
Mm.
absolutely love doing that. And then I also had the opportunity to speak with a lot of servicemen and women who were transitioning out of the military. And oftentimes, many of them didn't necessarily know what they wanted to do. So I love the fact that I'm plugged into your community now because this is a great opportunity for anyone transitioning out of the military or that just wants something different in their life and wants to be able to leave a legacy to their kids. I just believe that real estate investing is definitely one of those venues that you can use to do so. So
No, awesome. And that's one of the things that I think, veterans, and especially when you start talking about spouses of veterans and just the sacrifices that come with that. So thank you for your service for sure, because when one member of the family serves, everybody in the family serves, no
that is so
doubt.
true.
And so how have you leveraged that experience, being a military spouse, then, for the different companies that you worked in, how have you leveraged that and brought that to real estate?
Yeah, for sure. So, one of the things that Coach Johnny has taught his community is the importance of leveraging or building relationships. And so, real estate investing is definitely about building relationships, A, with with brokers, your networking in your market. One of the things that really gets me excited is because I have a background in HR, my husband and I will have the ability to actually employ people as we are building our real estate investment legacy.
Mm.
So, we're going to need contractors, we're going to need a property manager. Eventually we'll need a virtual assistant. So just having those people skills and networking skills, I'm pretty comfortable speaking in public most times. Those are all skills that you're going to use in the real estate market for sure.
No, 100%. Relationships and I always say your network is your net worth.
It's true.
And it really is true, I had a conversation with a gentleman that's done over $50 million in multifamily deals today, and
Hmm.
another client that's literally building self-storage units for different self-storage companies out there, and they're doing it across the US. So, and like there's so many different lanes within real estate, and the more you get out here and have conversations with brokers,
Yeah.
with builders and contractors, like you said, like the more successful that you're going to end up being. So, what was the one thing that kind of pulled you in with real estate? Because there's a lot of different asset classes. A lot you can become a builder. I mean, a business owner. You can just invest in your 401, your corporate 401k that may get a match from your
Yeah.
employer or your TSP. So, what was it that gravitated you to real estate in particular?
Yeah, so for sure. So for one, my husband had the opportunity to meet you, I think less than a year ago. I think it was some training that you both were attending, and he was just blown away at the impact that you were making. And when we first got married, we owned a property in Baltimore, Maryland. It was a townhome, and we rented that house out for about 6 years, and then ultimately made the decision to sell it once we got married. And so we just kind of reflected back on that. And we, in that particular instance, we really had a great tenant, same tenant for all 6 years. They paid on time. They let us know if anything was going on
Hmm.
in the house. And so, in that particular case, it really was an ideal tenant, but the market started changing. And so, that's what made us have that decision. We've got two kids, and we want to leave a legacy to our kids. And so, we just believe that real estate works if you work it. It's just like anything else. The magic word to any success is going to be work. And so we believe that not only can we help our family, but in the process, we can solve other people's problems who may be either looking to sell, they need housing, they need affordable housing.
Hmm.
There's just so many pillars within the real estate investment industry where we think we can help and solve a problem. And oh, by the way, you might make a fortune on the way doing that. So, that's kind of an added bonus. And one of the things that you said early on in my initial training, and it totally blew me away. I don't think I ever told you this, but you said you should be the best CEO of your last name. And when you said that, I was like, man, that's like super powerful. And I never wanted, I want our kids, and it's not just about the money, but it's about the impact for the next generation. And so that like flipped the switch. And I was like, this is one additional way in which we can leave a legacy to our kids. So long answer, but that's kind of our reason behind getting into real estate investment.
No, phenomenal answer, and I can't think of a better reason than the legacy and
Yeah.
building wealth for the next generation. And I think the big thing with it is like making it happen and taking action. So, what has taking action look like for you?
Yeah. So I will just say, if you are fortunate enough to work with Coach Johnny, he's going to hold you accountable, right? You want a coach that's not going to be, and you want a coach that is going to challenge you. And so, there are some things which we kind of call within the group like non-negotiables, right? So if you say you want to be a real estate investor, right? So you can't do that in your house, right? So you got to get out of your house. You got to network,
Right.
right? So for me, it's networking within the awesome REI community. It's tapping into there's a lot of success within this community and not being afraid to ask for help. So it's looking for properties within the target market, it's getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And for me, that was learning how to understand the numbers. And so it's a new skill. So every day I am analyzing the numbers on a property. That's a non-negotiable. Every day I'm within the REI community and I'm reading something, I'm studying something. And like Johnny talked about initially, he was on a podcast. So things like podcasts that are going to help give you additional information. So, the advantage of working with someone like Coach Johnny is that you can kind of get an individualized strategy. So your strategy or your goals may be completely different from mine. So he's going to help you
Hmm.
put together that strategy on how you get to your goals. But those goals will require you to put some action in place. So it starts with like, what are your goals, right? And then what are you thinking about? Because your thoughts will lead you to your habits, right? And then your
Mm,
habits will lead
true.
you to your actions. But don't confuse the process with the results, right? Because it is a process as you build your real estate legacy and as you build your portfolio. But if you are consistent, you reach out to Johnny, you reach into the community, and you are continuously sharpening your skills, you can't lose, right? It, like Johnny said initially, you can't lose if you're consistent and if you're continually doing those things. So I do those non negotiables every day, which adds up to every week. And I'm just going to keep doing that because I've seen the success. And if you can see the success, you can be the success. And so initially, I borrowed a lot of Johnny's belief. I borrowed a lot of his, clients' beliefs that are having tremendous success. And I'll continue to do that. But I also celebrate my wins along the way. And for me, that was like, boom, I know the numbers, I understand the numbers. This is not a good deal, you know? And for me, that's a win. And then there'll be lots of other wins as well along the way.
No, for sure, for sure. That's a lot to unpack. And I think the big thing when you said that strategy, like so many people go through life without a strategy. They
Yeah.
don't have a focus on what tomorrow looks like or
Mhm.
what they want tomorrow to look like or the next 6 months or the next year or the next 5, 10 years. And so you end up being in a reaction mode where you're going through now you're not really driving anything in your life. You're just reacting to whatever happens around you in the environment that you're in.
Mhm.
And you're not living on purpose. And
Yeah.
so I think that strategy, having that strategy for your life, just like a CEO would for a business, we have our national defense strategy that drives the decisions that the Department of Defense makes, but every individual service has their own strategy that folds up and it supplements and it augments that national defense strategy on how they're going to participate in helping be successful. And I think it's no different than what you're doing and what everyone has to do that wants to be successful is going through that process. And so, what has that top win been for yourself thus far?
Yeah. So for me, it's been the ability to understand the numbers and then make offers on properties, right? And you may make a ton of offers, and all of your offers are not going to be accepted. But to know that from where I started to now, I'm in a position
Mm,
where I'm putting in offers and making, competitive offers. It just feels great to know that I understand and I'm starting to get what it takes to do that. And for me, that's huge. That's been a huge win for me. And feel comfortable doing it and putting on my boots and going out to these properties and
yep.
I try to stay pretty organized, and I've got a checklist in terms of what's important to look for in a property. How can I add value? Like that's one of the things that one of the things that Johnny always teaches us, look, you're adding value, you're serving, you're solving problems, right? So it's not just, of course, at the end of the day, you don't want to just fall in love with the property, you want to fall in love with the numbers. And I get that, but just knowing that I'm, creating a process by which I can continue to be successful based on the lessons learned and based on the things that Johnny has guided this community through. And for me, that's been huge.
No, that's great. Because one of the things I always say is success is measured backwards. And, being able to say today that I'm better than I was yesterday, 6 months ago, a year ago, and you can see that growth and you can see that progress that you're making.
Hmm.
Because the thing is that a lot of us don't realize we're in the process way more than we're in the result
Yeah.
and in those accomplishments. And so it's been great to kind of just witness the growth over the last few months and just seeing the progress made and the
Yeah.
deals that you're underwriting, the properties that you're walking, the conversations that you have been having. Tell us a little bit about that with some of the conversations, with these walkthroughs and communicating with brokers.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the first questions that I learned to ask is, tell me a little bit about, what's the motivation for the seller wanting to get rid of the property? And the reason that, and what Johnny's taught us is the reason that you want to ask that question is because that really helps to dictate your strategy. If it's someone that may be more mature, up in age, their motivation could be wanting to move with their kids, or they're just tired. If it's multifamily, they just may be tired of, in many cases, managing it themselves. So it could be that the person has to pay off debt. I mean, so you want to ask that question because it really does give you what I kind of call the slight edge when you are putting in an offer, right? Or is the house distressed, right? Can they not afford to make some of the of repairs or add value, right? Or is there
Hmm.
something that's changing in their market that is motivating them to want to move? So that absolutely dictates kind of what my next step would be. And then you want to ask questions like critical questions in terms of the infrastructure of the house, like how old is the roof, right? What about the plumbing? Are there any new schools coming to the area? And a lot of that, in terms of the demographic of the area, you can do your own research as well. But those are some of the initial questions that you want to definitely ask when you're talking to either the seller or when you're talking to the broker. Some of those key elements in terms of the structure of the house, changes in the area, those are very important.
No, that's awesome because they'll you bring up some good points of really going through the process of finding a deal with starting with the pain point. I like to call it the pain point
Yeah.
of the seller and the motivation. Like you
Hmm.
said, why is this person interested in selling? And now we, instead of us going in with some preconceived plan or
Hmm.
approach, now we can tailor our approach to be one that would be well received, that solves the challenge or problem that's concerning the property and moving out on it. So no, I think that's the right approach, and the more and more you do it, how's your comfort level changed or your confidence changed over this time frame?
Oh, it's changed a lot. So the very first time that I did this, I'm telling you, I was sweating. I was so nervous, right? And the realtor, was so relaxed, right? And then the second time I did it, more and more comfort level, because I have a check sheet that I will follow. I know what pictures I
Hmm.
want to take when I go into a property. And so that has definitely built my confidence, and I'm understanding the language and what are the key components and the key things that I want to look for. And understanding the numbers absolutely has, when you walk in knowing that you've got a really good grasp on the numbers, that makes a huge difference. And if you don't have all the information, don't be afraid to say, hey, listen, I'd love to get, a printout or report of the tenant roll. ask those questions. There's nothing wrong with asking those questions. What are some of your operating expenses? Is there a property manager for this property? So don't be afraid to ask the questions, because if you don't ask, oftentimes they're not necessarily going to just volunteer that information. And that information is critical when you are calculating your operating costs for that particular property.
No, that's great. That's great, and I think you bring out that insight on confidence and being able to have the information,
Yeah.
do the research, and now when you show up and you're walking these deals, each deal you're getting a little bit more confident, you're getting a little bit more better understanding, and it rolls into the
Yeah.
conversation, because one of the things that you want to do is that confidence, it transfers in the conversation, that the other person that you're speaking with, whether it's a seller or a broker, that they're picking up on that, and it puts them at ease, that they can trust in you, and that you're confident in what you're doing, that it just makes that relationship work better.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So how has the coaching helped or impacted you with getting this far? You talked about your growth and the process, but really, when you talk about coaching and mentorship, that a lot of people have a different perspective. For me, I always kind of show up that my goal as a coach, and I think as for any coach, is to be able to get the best out of those that have trusted you with the calling of, or for the sport or team analogy, that have the ability. And now my goal as a coach is to get the talents
Mhm.
and the abilities that you already have there, now is to hone in on those skills and put you in a position for success. So how's that been for you?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And the way that I look at a coach, specifically within REI Genius, and what Johnny has been able to create here, I see it almost as a time machine, right? So when you're working with a coach, it cuts out a lot of unnecessary time that you could have spent had you not had the right coach, right?
Mm,
Johnny has, and if he wants to share that, I'm sure he will, but he has millions of dollars of a portfolio. He's got students, clients who have also started to follow in that same path. So I'm sure many of you have heard the term success leaves clues. Well, like Johnny's got the stuff, right? So, you know, it's like being a part of a time machine. He can cut away a lot of things and share with you a lot of things, the mistakes that he may have made. And it's not that it was mistakes, or but failure. You can fail your way towards success, and Johnny has done that. I mean, every day I'm sure he can tell stories about hiccups or obstacles along the way. And
oh
so what
yeah.
does that do? We don't have to make those same errors or mistakes, if you will, or go through those same landmines, if you will. Johnny's already done that. And so for me, I know it's probably saved me years of time, because he shares with you those key resources that you should leverage. If you want to know, for example, oftentimes you want to find out the school system, the school district, the, potential new businesses that are coming. Like, he shares the tools with you so that you don't have to go figure it out on your own. Right. And that in itself, and oh, by the way, the technology that he has access to for his students, that's a whole nother, um, advantage, if you will. And it's just been huge that I've been able to have access to these tools, to this community, to the resources that have had me help me kind of operate with speed. And that's why I compare it to a time machine. So he's saving his community tons of time. He's invested not only in himself, but into this community. And so that's priceless, right? And so the value that he brings, and Johnny's very hands on. If you have to ask him a question, his team is very hands on. You can send him information and they get back to you. I mean, I'm pretty amazed just based on how successful he is. how he gets back to you or his team gets back to you so effectively, and you know they want you to win. So that in itself is, and my husband and I, because I've been in personal development, we've spent thousands of dollars. And to be honest, those in some cases, the coaches really were not, you paid for your training, but that was as much as we saw
Mhm.
of that person that was the coach. And this is a whole different environment where Johnny's very available and he's a server, that. And you see that duplicated in his students. Like you see that duplicated in the community. Like everybody helps each other and shares their successes and say, oh, you may want to take another look at this, and so it's a whole different level of coaching, and totally grateful for that. And so if you are even thinking about a coach, I mean, I first of all, I would encourage you to read his book if you've not read his book. I think it's called, what is it? Millionaire Real Estate Success Strategies. What they forget to teach you in school. You got to read his book, because then you'll have a even better understanding of the transformation that he's made. And the cool
Mm.
thing is his students are having those same types of transformations. So if you need a coach, you need to talk to Coach Johnny. So,
No, I definitely appreciate those kind words. And and that's the thing that with all of it is you gotta have someone that's willing to take action like yourself,
yeah,
that's taking the information and actually moving out on it, because education without execution is just entertainment.
yeah.
And the thing is that you got to be able to be in the right environment, because I've learned over the years with, I think I haven't added the number, but it's getting close to over 100K that I've invested in myself over the last 4 or 5 years.
Hmm.
And the thing with it is like, it's like that time machine, that it's a great analogy, because if you're able to get around someone that has 30 years of experience of doing what it is that you want to do, it's like,
Yep.
yes, I'll pay to not go and make 30 years worth of mistakes to get that same level of experience, whether it's a
Absolutely.
book that I'm reading or having a conversation with someone for an hour where they can collapse that 30 years of experience to help you on your journey to get where you're trying to go, where somewhere that they're already been.
Yeah.
And it's nothing like that to do. But I think so many times people, they don't recognize the value in that, and being able to have conversations or be in rooms with
Mhm.
individuals where you have like-minded entrepreneurs, you have successful people in the room where you can have conversations and you can get the information that you need to take you to the next level. And a lot of times you don't even know what it takes or how simple or how easy it is. And for me, that transformation was going to a multifamily event in 2019 that
Mhm.
completely changed my life by being able to, one, see ordinary everyday people like myself that were buying apartment buildings and didn't have that had less experience than me, but were still doing it.
Yeah.
And they were building a network, they were raising the capital, they were, being hands-on with the contractors.
Mhm.
And so now, you know it changed my life. And 45 days later, I put a letter of intent in, got the property under contract in a
Mhm.
couple months, and next thing you know, we closed on it, got it done. So salute to you for taking action.
Thank
That,
you so much.
there's good there's it's great to have a great coach, but guess what? The players still have to hit the shots, they still have to throw the touchdown passes, and they
Yeah,
still got to hit the home runs. And so, and I think that's what is the most inspiring part of it, is just being a participant in your success and being right there to see all the success that's happening, and just to know that I've had a little part in that, because you still have to show up and do the heavy lifting.
that's
And I think you've been doing a great job, both you and Warner, with
thank
everything that you guys have been doing, because real estate is the ultimate team sport, and especially within the family construct, and then even more so as you fan out and bring more people with different skill sets, with your attorneys, your contractors, your property managers, your brokers, and
you.
everyone, and your private investors as well too, that are all part of that broader team. So
Yeah.
thank
For
you.
Oh, thank you. Absolutely. Great community. Shout out to your team, to Faye and Mav. and just the incredible folks that are, within the community that are transforming as we speak. And I love it, man. I just get so jacked when I know we've got to have, like, and the cool thing is too, right? So we have an opportunity to talk to coach on Monday evenings, and then we've got an accountability call, and it just really keeps us on track. So I'm really grateful for
Yep.
that.
And Coach Tanessa too. Don't forget Coach Tanessa with those accountability calls too.
Not say her name. Absolutely. And Coach Tanassa. That is for sure. Yeah. She's awesome. Yeah.
So what would you say to somebody that's on the fence that, maybe in corporate America, working a 9 to 5, that's kind of on the fence, always want to get into real estate, but they haven't taken action up to this point. What would you say to that individual?
Yeah. If you're not jumping out of the bed in the morning excited, then you need to make a change. That's the biggest thing. If you're not super excited about tomorrow, and that's another thing Johnny teaches us, that's like plan today for tomorrow. Then you already know that you need to make some changes, and then really put pen to paper, right? What is it? What do you want? And once you decide what you want, like Johnny said, you got to work backwards, right? If you're clear about, what you want to accomplish, either financially, freedom, time with your older parents, more time with your kids, there you're going to have to take some action to be able to bring those things to fruition. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Another thing Johnny teaches us, and that's time blocking, right? You got to be able to have your schedule pretty tight, and even if it's initially starting with, I have an hour, right? And then take that hour, dedicate that hour to tapping into this community, tapping into Coach Johnny, and then build on that, right? Because you can if we've got time, a lot of us have extra time to watch a movie, a 3-hour basketball, football game, and sometimes we just have to replace those things with something else that's going to get us closer to the goal. So if you're on the fence, I would reach out to Coach Bonnie, have a call, talk through it. He's had the success, and he's already having success, and he can talk through, potential what you see potentially as obstacles, and if it's fear, he can help
Mhm.
you through that. But have a conversation.
No, for sure. That is great advice and wisdom for somebody getting started, because you just got to get going. There's never a perfect time. All the stars are never going to align.
Yep.
There's not going to be a moment in your life where you're not going to have something jockeying for your time.
Yep.
And unfortunately, until someone gets sick and tired of being sick and tired, and something happens to
Yeah.
push them towards their future and their destiny,
Hmm.
they won't take action. What's the best way for those that may be interested? Tell us, what markets are you in? I think that'll be really good to share what markets that you're in, and potentially maybe some private investors out here that may want to align with you and
Sure.
learn a little bit more.
Absolutely. So we're based in Montgomery County in Maryland. Our target markets right now: West Virginia, Buffalo, New York, and Pittsburgh. Those are our targets for right now. So yeah, definitely, I'd love to hear from you if you are wanting to sell your house, specifically multifamily.
Okay. And how can people connect with you?
Sure. So I'm on LinkedIn as Leslie Taylor, Facebook as Leslie Taylor. I'm on TikTok, but most of my, from a real estate perspective, is either going to be Facebook or LinkedIn. And then if they want to reach out and send me an email, the name of our family company is called Future Foundation. So you can reach me at Ask Leslie at thefuturefoundations.com.
All right. Ask Leslie at the Future
Found
Foundation. Is that plural?
with an S on it. Foundations, thefuturefoundations.com. Yep.
Well, awesome. Well, we'll flag that up there. Does that look right?
That's perfect. Yep, you got it.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. No, I think that this has been awesome and really insightful. Just everything that you all have built thus far and the road in front of you and where you're trying to go. So I'm really excited for the future and that first multifamily deal that's coming up. And
Absolutely.
continue to be encouraged, continue to fight the fight, and know that you're one deal away, and really
Absolutely.
one deal away from change your life. That you, and you unfortunately you don't know when you're gonna hit it, and
I-
if you quit, then you may quit right before that next one that's gonna be that breakthrough. And so be encouraged, continue to go through the process, and I love how you help others along the way as well too. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
the
Coach
future
John,
is bright.
really appreciate this. And, I'll be bugging you anyway, saying help. No, but
Yep, for sure.
I
Hey,
really,
no, that's what I'm here for.
hmm I really appreciate it. And so I'm definitely looking forward to not just my success, but, just all the success within REI and where you're headed and where the community's headed. So, greatly appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yep, no, most definitely, and I think some of the things we do have coming up with launching our investor club here in the DC metro area. I think we're going to look at probably in Loudoun County first, and then
Oh,
eventually into Washington DC, and launching Lionel Capital, our private equity fund, toward the end of the year. Whereas that now we have some internal equity that we can bring to these multifamily deals for everyone. So I'm super excited about all of that that's coming up here with the second half of 2024. And
love it.
no, the future is definitely bright.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm excited.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
have a great evening. And everyone, it's been great. And we'll see you guys next week. Well, actually, we won't. Next week's the 4th of July. Yeah. So we're going to take next Wednesday, y'all, for the holiday. But definitely reach out, tap in for the consultation call, shoot me a message on the social media or email, and we'd love to have a conversation with you. And reach out to Leslie. You're interested in the Buffalo, New York market, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or West Virginia, to definitely have a conversation with Leslie.
Absolutely. Thanks, Coach. I appreciate your time.
All right. Have a
Bye.
good evening.
All right. You too. Thank you.
Yep.